Good evening. It is Tuesday, January 11th, 2022, and this is 4 p.m., and this is a meeting of the Acushnet Board of Selectmen. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Gentlemen, do I have a motion to open the meeting?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, pretty short agenda today in open session. Under all business, we have the EMA Tower Reserve Fund Transfer. It's my understanding that the EMA is requesting a transfer from the reserve fund for $11,375 for the construction of a communications tower. Mr. Wona, any comments?
No, I had a chance to talk to Jerry. And Mr. Gasper did a good job of framing the issue. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to be, unsightly in the neighborhood. Doesn't sound like that's the case. The only thing is, this is something that probably should have been taken care of with CARES Act money and could have. And that goes to our point about, the testing is that when you start putting stuff into, resources, moving them around, I'm hoping that at some point we can get reimbursed for this. Once we figure out what kind of additional money we're getting. So I just asked Jerry to move forward with it, front him the money, but just see if we can make a note that if there's an opportunity to reimburse us, that we should.
Very good. Ms. Gaspar, I know you spoke last week about this, so.
No.
What's that? Excellent.
Mr. Wona's come up with the same conclusion, and, I agree with Mr. Wona that if there's other ways to be funded, let's do it.
Well, there was a brief discussion concerning the ARPA money, if some of that money could be used when we
We'll see.
start tapping into that.
We'll look into it, sure.
So, gentlemen, do I have a motion for $11,003.75 reserve fund transfer for the building of the new EMA tower?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, very good. Motion passes. Next, on the Department of Public Works, we have Department Head, Mrs. Dan Menard, here tonight to discuss another reserve fund transfer from the snow budget, I believe, correct?
Well, it's not really if we're
I
gonna
shouldn't
do
have
the
said
for
reserve fund,
the
right.
plow, yeah.
Right.
Well, that's a couple of things. The first thing I kinda wanted to discuss is like the plow rates, to see if we can kinda get an increase. We went put out on Facebook and all, everything was advertised to get more snowplow drivers. I don't know if you guys got the sheet with the guys. We had originally, like a few years back, I had like 32.
I don't have that
Oh, you
sheet.
guys didn't have this
I
stuff?
didn't have one either.
This,
Oh,
that's what
I'll
all,
make
that's
copies
the,
right now.
okay. Well anyways, while she's doing that, we originally had 32 hired contractors out, and then our guys would take care of, like, the town hall, and the fire, and the police, and all that stuff. So, a couple guys were on routes, but most of our manpower was kind of taking care of the town buildings, and fire, and police also. So, last year it went down from 32 to like 21, and this year it went from 21 to 12. So it's like, we got 10 routes currently now, and it's between 3 plows and 4 plows per route, and we're down like 2 and then 1 or something. This last storm I had 1 route with just 1 guy on it, and the problem with that, it just takes so much time, because it usually takes 2 passes to do one lane. So you get a guy in front and a guy in the back. He'll make 1 pass down the street one way, come back the other way, 1 in the center, 1 on the gutter. So that takes care of the whole street with 2 blades. But if you got 1, you're gonna take 1 down the center, you're gonna come back, you're gonna do 1 down the edge, So they'll probably come around, do 1 in the center, 1 in the center, and they'll have to go back to the sides.
Right.
So it's just time, it's a time thing, and it just takes forever. And I just noticed this storm, luckily we get out of that. It wasn't a big one.
Right.
And so it took a long time to do that storm. So what I'm trying to get at is, if we get a big storm, it's gonna, people are gonna have to be really patient, we just don't got the manpower to do it. So that's why I was looking for maybe an increase in rate, or maybe a year-end bonus type of thing for the guys, so if they do show up every storm, they would get some money at the end of the year. So that was my suggestion, maybe in that way, get some more people on board. I did have a couple people call us, and actually they were in other towns and stuff, and they were making a lot more money than us. And even if we increased the rate, he'd say he'd take like a couple dollar decrease to come here instead of going, because he was actually, one guy was from Lakeville and he was gonna go, he worked in Brockton, and he's making 90 over there. Our rate's 84. So, if we did do an increase on ours, you know what I mean, he might come here, you know what I mean, type of thing, he said. So, I mean, that's something between the board. I'm just trying to get some more guys in, and it's just so we can kind of get, it seems like it's a dying art, and nobody kind of wants to be out there anymore, but
Right.
will it help, will it not, I don't know. So,
Well,
I'm just looking for the board's thoughts on this, and,
Yeah, well, I just signed 7 invoices from this last storm
yep,
that some drivers got in
yep.
right away, so,
And actually, it worked out good. So the downfall too, because over the years, we've got new guys. I had some guys come, some guys leave, and sometimes you get new guys, and they're not that good at plows. And then this storm actually worked out good. So the new guys we did get were actually really good and worked out well this storm. So.
And we did, Lisa, I believe we had one gentleman come in right before the storm that was
Yes.
certified to go, so the
Yep.
advertising did have a slight
Yes,
effect
yep.
on it, and,
Yep.
worked that way, so that's.
But again, we're from 32 to 12, and now I got 14. So
Okay.
it's still a big number difference. And again, this storm was small.
Mhm.
Small storm, and again, it took us a long time to do a small storm, and I'm not able to do the town buildings and the police and fire. I mean, I'm having our guys zip through there, because
Right.
even our guys are doing the route and they come through, but,
Right, Eric
It's
came by,
tough.
did this
Yeah.
Friday morning, right?
yep.
Around
And
10:30
actually,
or
the
so,
town hall, actually, one of the plow guys actually had a backhoe with a pusher on it, and he
Right.
said, oh, I can put that. So he wanted grabbing that to do the town hall and
Yeah.
council on aging stuff, so, which was fortunate, that he did that
That's
for us,
right.
so.
That's
I
right.
didn't have him till that storm,
Yeah.
so. It kind of
Yes,
worked
sir.
out well, but.
Yeah, I mean, and Lisa just made copies of this, but this is just really payroll from the last storm.
Okay.
I don't really know what this is telling me. So we
Okay.
used to have a list, Dan, of the pay scale, right? There was multiple pay
Oh,
scales.
from
Sanders.
the state, I got that one right here too.
No, we had our own.
Okay.
Didn't we have our own list? I remember seeing it several years back where, we paid, an 8-foot blade, this much money.
Yeah,
Then
that's-
it went up to, a 1-ton truck was getting paid $10 more than a 3/4-ton truck.
Yeah.
And if you had a 9-foot blade, you were paying, there was rates set
Yeah.
for different size vehicles, because, obviously the bigger the vehicle, the bigger the plow, the more work we're getting done at one swoop, so.
Yeah.
I thought maybe that's what this was, neither here or there, wherever
Yeah.
that sheet may be.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
still
she can give you that.
pay, like the town accountant, treasurer, I should say, the treasurer collector, she's the one who cuts checks. To be able to do the payroll, she's gotta have some list of knowing what guys got what and list
Correct. Yep.
of what they're
Right.
being paid. They're
Correct.
not all
Yep.
being paid the same,
Yep.
$85 an hour, let's
Yep.
call it.
Right.
Like even on this, Kevin, this is the rates, we put it with the names, and that's the rates they're
Yeah,
getting.
and there's
But the
3/4 ton and they're different.
1
from
ton,
the
and then
1
you
ton.
got the heavier GVW, in which we go off the state list, and that's how we come up with the numbers, and actually,
So these are current rates for these classifications of vehicles.
correct, and actually,
Okay.
Lisa's just gonna give you that's actually the numbers, which they do every 2 years, so the one we have now, they're running on 21, 22 contracts, and them are the numbers for 21, 22 through the state. And I think most towns do the same thing, and I bringing this to the board a while back, but
Yeah.
if you guys look at
I
this,
think
this is a
we-
Mass DOT, and this is, just so we're kinda comparable with what's going on. But we don't add, if you look at that, they give a sign-up bonus and stuff like that, which we don't do. See, like, you'll see the 11,000 GVW at the top, just look at the first one, and the 84, that's a 1 ton. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
For us,
Right,
so.
84, right.
So, but we don't give the 550 and stuff and an extended season bonus, we don't do none of that. So we just give them the 84. But you actually, I don't know, other towns that must be giving more, because like I said, that same guy I just talked to was $90, you know what I mean? So, 90-something I thought he was, so he was almost $10 more than what we were. So I don't know if other towns are just upping more rates than that, just to try to get people to, or,
Is the state rate considered like the gold standard, or?
Yeah, basically, like I said, most towns use that same thing, correct,
I'm just
yes.
asking, like, if we just adopted the state
Yep.
schedule,
Well, payment, right,
Payments,
because
right.
isn't there something different to don't state plow drivers get paid? They get called and if it's.
Yeah, they get, well, again, we do a 4-hour minimum too, but,
Okay.
the difference with the state, they definitely get a lot more hours than we do, you know what I mean? They call them early and they leave them later, so they definitely,
They
so
hang
to
out
get them off the
underneath the
state is,
underpasses for a while.
so,
but if we
I mean,
just
I work,
adopted the rates,
Yeah.
at least we're competitive,
What,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know.
We-
well, that's,
we-
that's, we are, we're already at these, that's what I'm
We're
saying.
already at
Oh, we
these.
are?
Yes.
That's what I think is, the point is, we're
And I
already
think
at
you-
state rate,
Yeah,
so, I mean, for the amount we're doing, and
We
if
gotta bump it up.
you think it'll attract, if you think it'll attract, what are you saying, what are you proposing to do? Because it'd be nice with a rate sheet, and we could just manipulate it and round them up, say the $87 an hour would be $95 an hour, or do you wanna just go up $5 an hour on every tier from the state rate to keep it cleaner that way?
okay.
Or go up
Well, it's
$10?
probably easy to keep it with this, cause
So
every
keep
year
it-
they do this, you know, well, every 2
Sure.
years, you'll see they do 21, 22.
So you
If
pay
that's
a
the case,
small
if you wanna say
premium.
that. But that's why I was looking at a year-end thing too, cause that might be to keep the plows here, and if they show up every, and that would even give them some incentive to show up every storm. So that was my thinking, you know what I mean? So, and then I don't think other towns do that as well, so now you know, this is what I
What
look.
is the $5? What this $5? It says, extended season bonus.
So that's like before time or after time, so that's like before, I don't know what date they use, November 15th or December
Right.
15th.
Oh, my
Before that
God.
date,
Really
you get an extra
Oh.
$5, and if it's after, March something or whatever, then you get the extra $5.
Right,
So
in
it's,
case-
it's extending season, so it's before,
Oh, it's
Dates,
$5
I don't know
on
that
the
date,
hourly
though,
rate,
Kevin,
Dan?
huh?
It's $5 added to the hourly rate if
Correct.
they plow out of that little seasonal thing.
Correct.
Wow,
Out of their
know if we
time
need to
frame,
get-
which I don't know what
if we
they
need to
do.
get, you're outside of, just snow plowing,
Yeah.
snow plowing until the snow's gone, so.
Yeah, but they do it like if it's
Well-
after a certain time frame or before a certain time frame, they give you that.
I think,
extra
I mean,
$5.
to be honest, I kinda look at this as, if somebody were to commit to us early, they get a $5.50 bump.
Yeah,
right?
that's actually, yes, that's, no matter whoever signs up before, so say they sign up before November 15th or something
Right.
like that, they get the additional $5.50, correct.
Right.
Oh, well, that's
That's
Right
pretty
off the
cool.
bat, which we don't give them, we don't,
That's
give-
pretty
that's, we
cool.
don't do
I think that
that.
makes
I
sense.
think that makes a lot more sense.
Okay, we don't do that at all, so that's one thing we don't, we just stick with the hourly rate.
We got the hourly rate from the state,
Yep.
which most people are using, so everybody's at the same rate, which I get it. I mean, you're right, it's kind of a dying thing for whatever reason, right? It takes a lot of wear and tear. I own a
Yep.
truck with a plow on it.
Well, the thing-
I just kept it for my own personal reasons, my business,
Yep.
but it beats on a truck, so,
Mm-hmm.
plus your fuel costs and everything else, it's gone up and we
It's
haven't
the
gone up with
insurance,
rates.
they have to have a certain amount of insurance.
Yeah.
Cutting edges, I just bought one,
I
you
just
know, for
like
an
that,
8-footer
okay.
was,
Oh, anything, I get it.
What's a typical storm cost? Because just in this, we're giving everyone $10 an hour more, that's $40, you said minimum, 4 hours minimum, that's
Yeah.
$40 per, and we got 15 trucks, that's $600 more per 400 hours. So an 8-hour would be like $1,200 more we're paying for these 15 drivers.
yeah.
On top of the, I'm just, what's the
Yeah.
final budget, how close do we cut it?
Yeah.
I mean, we have 2 or 3 storms a year now, or
Yeah, I
maybe
know.
more, I mean, what
Well,
are
see,
we
that's,
running?
that might be the
You know?
dying thing too, because we don't get the storms. That's why I was saying the year-end thing might even be nice too, because we don't have the storms. So the guys set these things up. Again, like I said, I bought a cutting edge at $300. So the guy goes out there for 4 hours, he hits a manhole or something, pops a thing, he made 300, but he just spent 300 on a cutting edge and fuel, and then he's into $400 or $500 just going out there. So that's why I think people are kind of tending to lean away from it, just because the setup cost, as well, the plows nowadays are, $6 grand, $7 grand, even more than that, I think, if you have somebody installed.
I'm not opposed to raising rates, I'm
Yeah.
just saying that,
What's it gonna cost?
what's it gonna cost us?
You know what,
It don't
though,
cost us
season?
anything if we don't have any snowstorms.
Right.
But,
Exactly.
If we had a big storm and we didn't have enough people, we'd be
Yes.
saying, I'll pay anything to get somebody out there. So you know what? We might as well just, suck it up now,
Yeah.
get everybody prepared. In best case scenarios, we don't have a storm.
Yep,
And if you're gonna pay somebody at the end to stay with us,
yep.
then so be it. I mean, I just think to be prepared, to never be in a situation where each one of us are getting phone calls about, not getting the roads paved.
$5 an hour increase
what it
on
is.
1,000 hours is $5,000.
Right,
Yeah,
That's
right.
peanuts.
yeah, we don't do
And that's 1,000 hours.
Yeah, no way.
So $5 an hour times 1,000 hours is
Yeah.
$5,000.
Oh, we're going to $10.
And
Yeah, we'll never do
Right,
a
we're going to
1,000
$10.
hours.
so hold on, we don't know what we're doing. So I'm just using it. I'm using it for everybody at home that's watching this. $5 an hour on 1,000 hours to give everybody an idea is $5,000, right?
Right, and $10 is
$10,000.
All right.
And we have 125 in snow removal in our
That is
budget.
correct, that is
So there's
correct.
125 that we upped. I talked about this several years back, getting it from 50 or 25 to 125.
I don't think I think we're still at the 110, believe it or not.
Yeah, it might be 110,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
whatever.
All right,
So irrelevant of the 110,
Yeah.
120,
Yep.
you know, rounding error,
Yep.
as we'll call it,
Yep,
right? So you're talking $110,000, and it's the one thing that a municipality is able to deficit spend on is snow
Correct.
removal. So we just go for an article at the end of town meeting. We usually have to do that anyway for snow removal. We spend, 150, 200 in not even so bad a years. I mean, sand and salt to load the barn once, we talked about that, what's that, 55, 60K out of that 110 budget? So no matter what, we're always going for something from town meeting and asking to pay the bills. So, I mean, for $10,000, let's just call it $10,000, to insure ourselves and put an incentive, as Mr. Menard's asking for, put an incentive, early on. The only thing about the early on one that you're talking about is what happens if people aren't showing up or they,
well, that's why I was saying I'd rather have
Right.
a year-end thing, so if you showed up for every storm, if you don't show up for every storm, you don't get the year-end bonus. I mean,
Why
we'll
don't we just
all
do
know who shows up, because they're getting paid
Dan.
for every storm. If you're not there for every storm.
Dan, why don't you just do this, because it's gonna be real easy for us to track this through payroll then, and I don't know if the board's gonna be open to this, but similar to what these people are doing. So instead of doing it in front end load in the pay scale, you use the same pay scale, but adopt the $5, right, if you plow, okay, it's $5 an hour, and at the end of the year, we look at payroll and you say, hey, Dave did 100 hours, we owe him $500. That's where he makes back his $5 an hour. So that everybody's kept honest on it that way. So it's way, how else are you gonna do it?
well,
We're gonna get-
I'd be open to just giving the $10 an hour raise.
And then a
You
bonus
show
for
up.
people who have.
Showed up at the end of
Run
the
the
year,
table.
showed up every
Do it.
storm. Again, that bonus thing was just to keep everybody coming every
Yeah,
storm, make sure you show
well,
up,
we give
you
them
know.
$10 an hour more, so that's $40.
If we
minimum.
get 10, I'm probably definitely, hopefully we get some more people, because I know a couple.
Why don't we just go with that for this year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll reassess, add $10
Okay.
to the state rates.
To the thing, we're not gonna do this early sign, I'm just gonna
No,
add 10 on the
These
rate.
These are our rates, right?
Yep,
Okay.
add 10 on the rate.
To
To the
this.
state rate, because we copy the state rates.
That's correct.
Right.
I'm not gonna do the early sign on bonus, just like we always do, we'll just put 10 on top of the
Same thing, just add
original rate.
$10. And let's see how we make out this year.
Okay.
I mean,
Right.
we're already in January for crying
Yeah.
out loud, right? We're lucky we didn't get snow in November and
Yeah.
December, so.
Right.
But
Here
it
we
seems like
are.
the storms are coming later, that's the other thing, Kevin, it seems like we're.
Depends on
later
what
in the
year,
you
depends
know?
on what year we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I hope, listen, I'd rather.
So I'll make a motion to add $10 to the state rates.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
See how that works out for you, Dan.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
all right.
And I need another, I got all in favor, I got
Aye.
one, aye. All right, state rates,
$10.
they are the same as our town rates, right? Oh, we are.
All right,
Okay.
It's easy to keep track that way.
yeah,
What about the plow?
okay.
What about, you
That
got
was-
here for a plow?
Yeah, that was, for the new loader we have,
And
so, again, that ain't gonna help us this year regardless. I don't know if you guys looked at that, did you guys get that sheet too, or no?
This one?
yeah, we got,
Yeah, from United, yes.
this is for the new loader that we purchased?
That's the new loader,
Go
but
on
it doesn't,
down.
yeah. Actually, I was out in that last storm with the loader. With a bucket, the problem with a bucket is you're going with a bucket and the snow comes out of both sides, versus a blade. And the only reason, again, because we didn't have the snow plow guys. So if we do get a big storm, we're gonna need that piece of equipment out there. I'd rather not use that piece of equipment out there if we don't have to, but if we don't have the plow drivers, the roads ain't, what happens is we got smaller trucks. They ain't gonna be able to open up these streets to where they're supposed to be, because they ain't gonna be able to keep up with it. If we get a foot of snow and it's inch or
Snowing
2
like
inch an
a-
hour, they'll never be able to keep up, because we don't get the trucks. We used to have 4 per roof, we're cutting it in half. I mean, so it's kinda, by the time we get to one end, they ain't gonna be open, they ain't gonna be heavy enough to open them up. So, we're gonna need this piece of equipment to open them up, so. Again, you can do it with a bucket, but it's time, it just takes longer. You're gonna have to keep like bucketing it off and keep going down the road and bucketing it, because it blows out each side of
Not
the
the way to
bucket.
plow.
No, not with a blade. Unfortunately, they're a lot of money, and
Right, well, we
I mean,
we
that's-
purchased one a few months or last month.
that was for,
the
our
9-foot plow? for
no,
the
that
truck?
was for a 10-wheeler. That was
10-wheeler?
truck 16,
Uh-huh,
that's an 03, I think that truck was, and.
right, but we
that-
purchased a
A
plow
new
for
blade,
that.
we had to get a new blade, yeah,
Correct.
that's actually smaller than this one.
Correct.
This is a bigger blade for that big
Correct, I
machine.
think it was a
but-
9-foot,
No, that was a 11-foot,
11-foot, okay,
Yeah,
and I
this is a
remember it was around
12.
14
Yeah,
grand. That we
yeah.
took the money out of the,
a snow
Wow,
budget, yes,
so-
correct.
okay. Well, do I have a motion to approve 22-3 for a new plow for the loader to be taken out of this year's snow budget?
So moved.
Second, you want to be taken from the snow removal budget?
Yep,
I think that's fair.
right there. Okay,
Okay, boss, sounds good.
and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, very good.
Hey, Dan,
Thank you, Dan.
you said it's not gonna matter this year, so you said if you look, I looked, but I don't see anything that's waving a flag saying you won't see this until June.
Lead time approximately 17 weeks.
I didn't read the
Right.
fine print.
So this ain't gonna, might not
Okay.
help us, but either way, it's gonna help us for next year. And you'll see as I'm going for trucks, and, this year as articles, and talking to them people, it's 2 years out for a truck as well.
Yeah.
So everything's like real far out. to
You can't
get
buy a
equipment,
refrigerator for a
get-
year.
It's horrible, so, you know what I mean, so that's something maybe in the future, we're gonna start thinking about planning, because they're 2 years out. The trucks I'm looking to replace is,
See what happens.
1988 and a 1990, so, and it's getting harder to get parts, and, I mean, we'll keep them together, we'll keep them rolling, but,
You always do. See what happens with the supply chain. We can't
Yeah.
predict what's gonna happen in 6 months, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think you're making the right call here, ordering this bad boy now, so we
Yeah.
have it.
Yeah.
Maybe not gonna get used, but we'll have it
Yeah.
for next year, and we're ahead of the curve, so better to be proactive than reactive, right?
perfect.
So, appreciate that, Dan.
All right, guys, you have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Dan. Good administrative report, selectmen announcements. Mr. Gaspar?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Mr. Wona?
Yeah, I just want to follow up again on the issue of the mailboxes. And, I've had a chance to look into it. I think the residents need a little additional, something to take back to the postmaster. So I would ask that the board vote conditionally to temporarily suspend cluster mailboxes for new cluster mailboxes. Issue that to the resident. And then if it doesn't hold up, it doesn't hold up, but at least it's something that we can provide for them to take back to the postmaster. It's an approved street. I feel like,
It is an
taxpayers
approved
should
street.
have delivery, so I'd like to make that motion
You
to,
keep saying it's an approved street. I don't remember.
we just checked on it.
Yes, we
We just
did.
checked on it,
When did
Kathy
we do that?
verified,
The road's not even complete, though.
I believe we did it, God, like a year and a half ago. Kathy has
Oh,
it.
if it's an approved street, then, we should do that for the residents, absolutely, so.
Yeah.
Motion to temporarily
Take it.
suspend new cluster mailboxes.
Second,
yeah, okay.
let's see what they have to say.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It ain't gonna hurt.
Please, if you could, you just send a letter to the residents saying on this date, the selectmen voted to suspend cluster mailboxes. Leave it at that. I'll give you the resident's name and address. You can send it to Dan Manise as well, who's the developer.
Yes.
Yep, okay.
Thank you.
Information only, the following boards, commission have vacancies. Please consider serving your community by submitting a letter of interest to the Board of Selectmen. Agricultural Commission has 2 alternate vacancies, Beautification Committee, 7 vacancies, Community Preservation Committee has 1, there's a Housing Authority vacancy, Cultural Council, 13 vacancies, Open Space Committee, 1 vacancy. And I'd just like to also add that the town still has a need for a town moderator. to fill our May town meeting coming up. So anyone interested in that would send a letter to the Board of Selectmen, attention Lisa Ledden, and we'll take it from there. Next Selectmen's meeting tomorrow, January 12th, we have a joint meeting with the Finance Committee at 7 p.m. at the police station to discuss the budget matters before the town and to prepare for the upcoming town meeting.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I
Yes.
ask that we post a meeting for Friday to go over, to decide, in the event that we have to vote on a town administrator candidate, either way.
That is correct, because we will not hear back from the candidate until Thursday.
And if that's not a possibility, after we discuss it, at least we have a backup plan that, rather than drag it out another week or two.
Are you here to meet or Zoom in for Friday?
Friday?
To discuss-
This Friday?
This Friday? 1 o'clock?
11's cool.
11's cool, very good. I believe,
We're gonna post that, Lisa.
Oh, I'm gonna do that right before I leave today.
very good.
Yeah, because if we cancel it, we have to cancel, we cancel, but
Right.
at least we
Yeah,
have
there's
something.
no need to have the meeting, it's fine.
Right. Well, actually, we'll probably have one either way.
Right.
Whatever the decisions are made.
Right.
So, right, gentlemen, we're gonna, executive session under general law, chapter 30A, subsection 21A-2, to discuss strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct negotiations with non-union personnel, interim town administrative position, Richard LaFawn. If an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the position of public body and the chancellor declares, review of matters presented, votes may be taken. Roll call vote, Mr. Warner,
Yes.
Mr. Gaspar?
Yes.
And I am a yes. And we will not return to public session. Everyone have a good evening.